So today I wanted to talk about Fire and Ice Hand, and did those two cards really ruin the competitive scene for 3 to 4 months? So, looking at the recent influx of decks that have topped Worm hands, Trap Trick hands, Guakimaru hands, have these cards really been that terrible for the game, or were they something that we needed? Now, you guys remember way back in the day when Hydrogeddon was a good card with Shrink. A lot of decks were playing Hydrogeddon and Shrink just because of what it did. It gave you a floating potential +1 from your deck. XYZs didn't exist in this era, and it allowed you to get over your opponent's monster and gain an additional attack over your opponent, which was really devastating to certain plays, and really put you in a very, advantageous position, or whatever you want to call it. The thing is, the hands do the same thing, but in an aspect that you can ram them, kill stuff, special them in the next one, move along with your day. And if you're a quote-unquote bad player, and you play into the hands and, you lose 6 cards to the hands or 5 cards, that's your own fault because you didn't expect the hands in a format where the hands are very relevant. Now, knowing that the hands exist, why do people continue to overextend into the hands? It's one thing I don't understand. I mean, if you're in a format where you know the hands are relevant, I mean, why aren't you playing Deep Prisons to counter them? Things like that in general. Outside of that, it's very interesting listening to some of these discussions that certain players are having about, how the hands were so bad for the game, things like that, and it's really degenerate, honestly. Having cards in the game that you can potentially ram, spend like 3k life points to get a +5 or 6, it's unfair, honestly. However, the hands have brought back very many anti-meta decks. Guakimaru, Worms, things like that. We wouldn't have seen those top with the evolution that the game has progressed to the current state. And I think the hands have helped out in that aspect. They have helped revive stun, because they do what they do. I know a lot of players are not, saying that those cards have helped stun, but realistically, having Worms and other famous anti-meta decks kind of returning back to the scene, doing what they do in the forms of new engines, things like that. I think the hands were healthy for the game in that aspect. The hands are unhealthy for the game though because of how degenerate they are. Just one card nets you, that massive card influx. I mean, they could have done things in different design. That's neither here nor there. To clean them up though, I feel like they are going to go to 2 each. 2 still lets them maintain some sort of power. It's not as much, that they could get being at 3 each, and I still know people are going to play 2 each, but if they put them straight to 1 each, you're just going to have Tengu syndrome. And I mean, you remember when Tengu was just like the best thing ever? It was a card that was generically good for all decks. That's what the hands are. They're generically good for all decks. Every once in a while we'll get cards that are like this, that are generic for all decks, but they're so powerful that they have to get limited, and it's kind of a shame because I do like cards like this that help out all decks. That's kind of why the game has gone to archetype based stuff, because generic cards such as this are just too powerful for the mainstream game. So my question to you guys is, do you think the hands are too good, too overpowered, they need to be limited, or do you think we can just YOLO it and leave them? I do think that they were good to come out when they did. They did define a format. It kind of sucks that they did. I mean, at least they made this format more interesting, because, coming out next set we have to do with Dragonstar Shadal's and stuff like that. And I kind of think having the hands would really make Shadal's day, terrible. But having things like this that are generic is bad for the game. Same thing with Soul Charge, which is just the same thing, but we've already talked about that. So guys, what do you think? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please thumbs up this video to show your support, and please check out Vanguard 40 for Cardfight Vanguard, MKohl Games for miscellaneous trading card games, and No Limit Gaming for a brand new series of Yu-Gi-Oh videos. Thanks for watching.